How's it going, everybody? My name's Carpo, and this video is going to be to promote the use of essential oils, or to rather cover the bases of how they may very well fight cancer. And this is something I've talked about several times in my other channel in various cannabis videos. And I guess the reason I'm doing this one is to try to bring together those who are fans of cannabis and those who are looking to cure themselves of the various diseases, and to realize that it's not just the cannabis that does it. It is strongly in part to the components of the plant, but not the THC. The THC is what gets you high, as we know. The THC is a cannabinoid, one of over, I believe, 80 in cannabis. And tetrahydrocannabinol is what it is, and it is the part that gets you stoned. But recent studies have shown that CBD, of course, is very effective against cancer cells as well. And it's not psychoactive in itself. Now, there are several other compounds of the cannabis plant that are discussed in various cannabinoids that may be beneficial. But one thing that is vastly overlooked, vastly understated, is the essential oil components of cannabis. The myrcene, the limonene. There are hundreds of different essential oils, and they're all basically compounds that are based on the same standard benzene ring, which can be adjusted to make different smells. So when you smell an essential oil, you're basically smelling that benzene ring, which has had atoms attached to it in a certain way to where it triggers a certain reaction from your body. Now, these smells are what we use to identify plants, whether they be beneficial or not. And in many cases, we found that these essential oils are very attractive to people. Now, in decades past, it had become kind of a new age nonsense type thing. Essential oils, they'll help you sleep better. Look at ancient history. Look at how the people used to put thyme under their pillow and use peppermint to feel better. Various herbs that they would smell. Now we have the access to the basic essential oils of the plant, the actual medicinal part of the plant. And it's readily available on the store shelves. And we may very well have a cancer cure right on the store shelves that's being ignored because it's natural. So I'm going to read you this little clip so I can kind of lay out where I'm going with this. Studying some of the most popular essential oils in current use, such as mint, ginger, lemon, grapefruit, jasmine, lavender, chamomile, thyme, rose, and cinnamon, researchers sought out to discover how these oils may combat cancer. They did so by testing antibacterial potency as well as in vitro toxicology against human cancer cell lines. The cancer cell lines evaluated were the MCF-7 breast cancer cells and the A-549 lung cancer cells and the PC-3 prostate cancer cells. At a concentration of about 0.2%, a very small amount, a fifth of a percent, all of the essential oils were relatively effective at inhibiting both the prostate cancer cells and the lung cancer cells, with the exception of mint essential oil. Though when it came to the breast cancer cell lines, some of the oils were especially effective. Essential oils from cinnamon, thyme, chamomile, and jasmine were significantly potent against the breast cancer cell lines, offering greater protection. The breast cancer cells were mostly destroyed by all four of these oils, with chamomile killing up to 93% of them in vitro. Even more effective was thyme oil, which led to a 97% kill rate of the MCF-7 breast cancer cells. Though it's important to remember this research was performed in vitro, meaning that the cells were studied outside their normal biological context. Now, there's a lot more information about this that you can find. I just wanted to kind of read the actual scientific study. Here we have thyme oil that kills 97% in vitro. Now, this means it's in a petri dish outside the body, and the way that it reacts in the body is going to be totally different. However, we have something that kills cancer cells and leaves healthy cells intact. If you consider this could mean that something like thyme oil could be used as an alternative, in an alternative IV possibly, or find some sort of a way to do exactly what we're doing with chemotherapy. And my father died of cancer when I was 15. He got a tumor on his right lung. It was carcinoma caused by living in Chicago in the industrial area. That's what his doctor said. But he was in Vietnam, and there was plenty of Agent Orange being sprayed in the area where he was at. My belief is that, the military killed him for this wonderful war in Vietnam that gave us so many benefits. Anyway, when he got sick, I was about 13, 14, and it came quickly, and he was very, he wasn't gonna have it. He worked until he couldn't move anymore. The last 6 months of his life, he was basically laying there in our living room, delirious, incapacitated, and I slowly watched him die. And I remember thinking back then, you know, watching him waste away on the chemotherapy and thinking they're pumping these chemicals into his body to try to kill these cancer cells. I said, one day this is going to seem so primal, so archaic and outdated. We're going to be so ashamed, you know. But we can only do what we know, you know, and we know what works somewhat, and we used it. So we're moving on to the new day here, to where there's a possibility that we may be able to find a way to cure these diseases without using toxic soups. Our ancestors knew all about this. They knew how these herbs worked, although they didn't know the actual method of action. They understood that certain herbs could benefit them merely by the smell of them. And the essential oil, when you smell anything, of course, these are bits, these are particles of the oil itself evaporating up into your nose. You are actually getting a dose of it, and this is why some people can smell certain oils and feel relaxed. Now, I've used essential oils for decades. I use Melaleuca brand tea tree oil, which, yes, is superior to some of the generic store brand. I've bought so many different types of tea tree oil. And you'll notice some of them drip out of the bottle really quick, and some of them are just a really slow drip because they're thicker. They're more concentrated. Tea tree oil has cineol, a certain amount of cineol content, and I can't remember the name of the other compound, but you're looking for the highest of one and the lower cineol because it's less irritating, because people use them for scrapes, cuts, and whatnot. So here we have, from what I understand, Australian troops back in the day were required to carry in their medical kit tea tree oil for minor abrasions and cuts and whatnot. It's a phenomenal antiseptic. I've been using it for so long. One day I was growing my cannabis and I had some spider mites, and I decided, why not use tea tree oil to see if it kills the mites? So I did, and it was very successful. It not only suffocates the spider mites themselves, but it kills the eggs and dries them out. So I mix, say, 40 drops in a little sprayer bottle and use it for not just cleaning, but for spraying plants. You can use it for cleaning your body. You can use it for, put a few drops of essential oil on a drop of oil or grease or something that's really sticky, and it works just like goof off. But it's totally non-toxic and won't hurt your body. This to me shows that it's just overly amazing. These essential oils are non-volatile to the human body, yet very volatile to things that are dangerous to the human body or things that we may not want. I remember my mother-in-law sells Melaleuca, so this is how I got into that years ago, and I remember she would show me how you can put a little drop on a balloon and the balloon will pop, yet you can use it on your hand and it's totally safe. It'll eat through the plastic. The stuff is thick. Anyway, these essential oils, there are so many different types and so many different benefits, and through my cannabis usage I've started to understand how they work, and I'm very convinced that different cannabis strains, which have different smells, affect the person differently, not just because of the cannabinoid content, but because of the terpenes. Now, terpenes are another name for the essential oils. Terpenes are what we're talking about here. There's a reason why they fit in our noses. I can't get into the technical aspects of how we smell things, but not all animals smell the way we smell or smell in the same ranges that we smell. It's kind of like our vision or our hearing, you know. We smell things a certain way, and then it triggers our brain to think about it a certain way. So when you smell peppermint oil, it can bring you back, but it's a wonderful smell no matter what. Not many people would smell peppermint and think that smells gross. This is, in my belief, we have co-evolved with these plants, that we have co-evolved with all the essential oils that can assist us in our health. And the reason why they're obviously in oil form is because nature has a way of separating lipids from just simple moisture. In other words, having a way to actually collect it and store it is really important. But it seems like the oil itself is an amazing medicine. You think about this, something that kills 97% of cancer cells in a petri dish, yet it's totally harmless to the body. Now, I can't talk about this enough because I find that this is going to be one of the most important aspects of our future healing, is to find these natural compounds. We've been looking in the rainforest, we've looked in the desert, we've looked at venom and snakes and scorpions, we've tried to find all different types of cures. Every time we find something, it's from a natural source, and we may try to duplicate it, we may try to make a synthetic version, but there are no humans in labs coming up with random chemical compounds and just seeing if they cure cancer. They're based on previous studies that have been done from natural compounds which show promise. And we know the pharmaceutical industry would love to patent away these terpenes and to own this healing ability, but it doesn't work that way. Just like cannabis can't be patented, essential oils can't be patented, nature just can't be patented. But there's no reason to believe that she doesn't have all the answers to our problems readily available. In other words, humans should not have to create a concoction to heal themselves. Generally, there's a way to heal yourself from anything if you just know which source. I always go back to the stinging nettles. You know, when I was a kid, I used to run through the woods and get a lot of stinging nettles, and then my friend told me, hey, if you just break open the stem and rub the juice inside on it, it takes away the itch. And it works. So here we have the healing, we have we have the damage and the healing all in one plant. And what else can I say? It's just amazing stuff. Take care, everybody, and do your research. Make sure that you are aware that these things exist. So if you know somebody who can maybe benefit from them, what is it going to hurt to get a couple bottles of thyme oil and try to help somebody out with who has cancer? There were a couple studies I read. One lady who had stage 4 lung cancer. She had a pain in her side. She went in and they basically told her to go home and die. So she got on a regimen of taking regular doses of cannabis oil, and she couldn't stomach it, so she actually made an enema for it. But within 6 months, she was cancer-free. Still has no cancer cells in her body. These stories are difficult to repeat, but there's something to it. Something's on fire.